Second game of our doubleheader tonight. If you had just watched the previous one, Memphis, who you just mentioned, with a 58-57 win, just getting by USF. USF had a double-digit lead in that game late, but credit the Tigers for pulling that one out at home. We're underway here tonight from Tulsa. Ball goes inside quickly to Bryson Gresham for Houston. They kick it back out for the three. That's no good. And rebounded by the Golden Hurricane and Emmanuel Ugbo. Here's your starting five for the Hurricane tonight. Gotta like what Elijah Joyner brings as well. He missed the last game. It's his 100th game of his career mark. The senior point guard number 3 for Tulsa.
Yeah, he is the spiritual leader of this basketball team. There he misfires. And DeJon Giroux, the point guard for Houston, with the rebound.
Starting five for Houston. Giroux and Gresham, along with Sasser, Grimes, and Gorham. Marcus Sasser, zero, has done a phenomenal job this season, averaging over 15 points a game. And the ball's in his hands right now. Inside Gresham, and that's our first bucket of the night.
Yeah, watch for Houston to pound the ball inside, either off the pass or off the dribble. That time, Bryson Gresham down low. Big dude, 6'8", 230, can take up some space.
Joyner on the kick, finds Keyshawn Embry-Simpson. And now Austin Ritchie on a little bit of a push-off, and the jumper is way off by Brandon Rochelle, and here come the Cougars. Free ball, Quentin Grimes, and rebounded for Tulsa, and here they come again.
Yeah, you really want to push it against this really good transitioning Houston defense. Both these teams get back so well. That's why they're two of the top defensive teams in America.
Strong try from Keyshawn Embry-Simpson, and we are tied at 2.
He is a big key in this game. The perimeter players for both teams match up extremely well. That's why there's intrigue with this matchup between Tulsa and number 5 Houston tonight.
That's actually the 5th time this season that Keyshawn Embry-Simpson has scored the first bucket of the game for Tulsa. And then Houston comes back with a jumper by Gresham to make it 4-2.
With Gresham so balanced and confident early in this game.
Feed inside for Ugbo. Double team quickly coming down, and there's the defense that you're talking about, Mark. And they collapsed right down on Ugbo with a double team, and it forces a turnover and a foul.
That's what Houston does so well, Mike. Their defensive rotation, even when you get good spacing and ball movement, they're so active defensively. And what I love about Houston, and you can hear it now in this COVID environment, you can hear them communicating defensively. Their rotations are crisp tonight under Kelvin Sampson.
Grimes gets it back for Giroux. 3 minutes gone by first half. 2-point lead for the Cougars. And working his way in and drawing a blocking foul is Marcus Sasser, who's going to head to the free throw line.
I love this kid. I love the way he moves without the basketball. This time with the back screen right there. Defender not quite set. Sasser able to draw contact, go to the free throw line. You know, Mike, when I watch him move without the ball, when I watch him get into his shot rhythm, he reminds me a lot of Isaiah Thomas, played for the Detroit Pistons, Hall of Fame basketball player. He's 6'1", about 185, 190, the same size as Isaiah Thomas. And that's the way he moves.
Yeah, you told me about that earlier. It's pretty high praise. He's a guy that has been hobbled by an ankle injury a little bit. He missed the South Carolina game and was unavailable for Alcorn State, so he's missed a few this season. So think about Houston, still an undefeated team right now, and they haven't been playing at full strength at times this year. How tough are points to come by in a game like this, right?
It is a battle of wills. It is just like what we talked about in the open. The toughest defenses require the strongest will, and both of these teams are extremely strong-willed. But you've got to transition out the offensive end as well and be patient and not get frustrated.
It's going to be a blocking foul as Quentin Grimes took it in for Houston. Yeah, I thought that was a point that you and I were discussing earlier, and you made a great talk about this game. It's focus versus frustration.
And we saw that 8 days ago when Tulsa was at Memphis and one team got frustrated. That was Memphis. One team stayed focused. That was Tulsa. And Tulsa came through with the road win. And by the way, Mike, the first 11 games in the American this season, 6 times the road team has won so far. More than half the games played, 6 teams have won on the road.
Foul was on Embry Simpson for Tulsa, his first. Here's a look at Grimes and, you know, what he's done throughout his career. It's phenomenal. And how much time that he's getting out of the court now. Leading rebounder, or second leading rebounder on this team, and has been deadly from the outside shooting as well. 7-2 early here, Houston. And the first foul of the game on the Cougars. This goes against Reggie Chaney.
Houston plays man-to-man defense like rabid dogs. Just watch the red jerseys, especially late in the shot clock, how they turn up the heat. And there's a 5-second count. The rabid dogs win that one. Looking to church, she fed him a lot, and he loved every meal. They laughed together. They were happy together. They spent time together. She went to every high school game, and when he struggled, she said, "Get back in the gym, son, and go get better." Well, at Thanksgiving, she was sick with COVID. She got worse every day. And about a week or so after Thanksgiving, she passed away. Keyshawn went to his grandmother's funeral right before the Southwest Christian game, but his teammates picked him up when he came home. Coach Haith was like a father to him. He was there every second. He learned life's lesson from his grandmother, Velma Dennis, and said that not to ever give up or say quit. He got a chance to talk to Velma before she died. And the last thing he said to her was, "I love you, Grandma." That's the power of a coach and a player, and how a program becomes a family, and how they work together in order to fill each other's voids as they face the challenges, not just with COVID, but also with a life and death situation. Velma Dennis, we extend our condolences to your entire family, to Keyshawn, and the entire group of Tulsa basketball players as well.
I echo those sentiments. Well done, Mark. Well said. And I think that's the reason why, too, that this Tulsa team rallies around each other, you know, and played so well last year and has continued to do so this year. I mean, it's more than just on the court. We know that. But they've got each other's back. Right now, 7-4, Houston. Giroux. Up for Sasser. The shot clock expires and not get it off in time. Good defense by the Golden Hurricane.
Yeah, I like it when coaches make changes coming out of timeouts. Frank Haith went to their zone defense on that possession, and Houston struggled to make that adjustment. Well played by Frank Haith.
What would you like to see here on the offensive end for Tulsa? You talked about the defense for Houston. What do you got for Tulsa offensively?
You know, I really like it when a guy like Brandon Rochelle, if they can get him into his rhythm. Number 1 in white is a guy that has to get some touches and get going.
Well, he got a touch there, but he saved it from going out of bounds and right to the Cougars. And now Sasser relocates for 3 and drains it.
Yeah, Marcus Sasser's going to make a lot of shots like that. His first 3 games, he's 12 for 24 from the three-point line. Make that 13 for 25 now.
And Rochelle misses and rebounded by the Cougars. Mills. Are you surprised with what Sasser has done so far to start this season, Mark? I mean, where has he come from?
You know, I really liked Marcus a year ago, and the way that Calvin Sampson's players improved, like Quentin Grimes, for example. I mean, this is a bunch of players, and I've been a part of his staff before. I've seen how hard his coaches and his players work to get better each season, and this team just continues to get better game by game.
It's an 11-2 run here for Houston. And another miss for Tulsa. Giroux the rebound. Quickly again, it's Grimes, and he couldn't get that one to fall. And it's going to stay with the Cougars here. 14:07 to go first half. They've got a 9-point lead.
You know, Mike, the other thing that a lot of people don't talk about is the fact that Giroux can go get your rebound. Grimes is a good rebounder. Caleb Mills is a willing rebounder. Sasser's a guy that'll run down rebounds. Their perimeter guys, when they go small ball, which they are right now, all those guys take it upon themselves to go rebound the ball effectively.
Well, that's what Coach Sampson told us. He says we put a lot of effort into our defense and rebounding, and it certainly shows. And is this going to be an offensive foul? Yes, it is. So continuing that trend here as Embry Simpson is going to be called for it. Keyshawn Embry Simpson, and that is going to be his second personal foul. And he heads to the bench.
You know, Mike, it's going to be interesting to see now how Houston responds, because when they smell blood in the water, these Sharks get awfully hungry in red jerseys.
Now, it's a reason they're off to a 7-0 start here to begin this season.
Wow, Sasser wide open.
Couldn't get the fall, fight for it. Again, going to be another chance for Houston on the offensive end.
Well, you could hear the entire Tulsa bench just say, oh no, Marcus Sasser was so wide open on that possession.
Houston's perimeter scorers, Mark. I know coming in, you thought this could be a big story of this game. We're going to keep a track on this with Grimes, Mills, and Sasser. And this basket's going to count. And the foul. Giroux heading to the free throw line.
Now, Mike, those three, and that doesn't even count DeJon Giroux.
Right.
The transfer from UMass, he's gotten so much better, so much more maturity to his game. He now has 2 assists to 1 turnover. He's never done that in his career, and he's obviously a finisher. He's also become a leader on this roster.
Caps off a 3-point play. And Houston is out to the 15-4 advantage. 13.5 remaining first half.
He's the guy I want to get going. Brandon Rochelle.
Working down on the block. Now in the middle of the lane. The ball is kicked out to the top here for Joyner. Shot clock inside 10. 3-ball Rochelle. And he answers, Mark, as you were talking about him. Finally, 3-ball going down for the senior.
Yeah, that's really good news for Tulsa, because he's a two-way player that'll generate some defensive intensity for him. And on the offensive end, if he can get his rhythm, he can score in bunches and keep Tulsa in this game.
15-7. Houston leads it here. 12:45 to go first half. And that ball off the rim. And here come the Golden Hurricane. It's Joyner. All the way to the rack. And he's blocked by Giroux, but a foul is called.
Well, DeJon Giroux is playing like... It appears to be a 2-shot foul.
Common foul.
I didn't think it was
finally got the word. Yep.
Even in real time, when I saw it along with the replays, I just thought it was a common foul. I think it's the right call for sure.
So 15-9. Tulsa's perfect at the free throw line. Houston 4 of 5 so far here in the early going. Here's Mills now, and he is fouled. And that's going to go against Curtis Haywood, who picks up his first for Tulsa. And how about Mills?
A year ago, Mike, Caleb Mills, Kelvin Sampson gave him more freedom than any freshman I've ever seen Kelvin Sampson give a freshman.
It was pretty impressive, too. And, you know, he's the preseason player of the year, right? And he comes off the bench. I mean, where do you see that, you know?
Wow.
Double clutch runner out there by Haywood. Giroux backs it off here for the Cougars, who lead by 6. And trying to go back door, and it got knocked out of bounds. We'll be right back. Timeout. 11:43 to play in the first half from Tulsa. It's Houston by 6. Is Sean busting on your superheroes there, Mark? Come on now.
No, he's in total support. And I heard Greenberg as well. They're backing up their analyst here at Tulsa.
Hey, you got Houston in your preseason Final Four. Tell me about that.
You know what? When I look at their perimeter, how they guard, how disciplined they are, and how much they improve throughout the season, and this is without Fabian White. I mean, I'm picking them to go to the Final Four without Fabian White. With Fabian White, I'd pick them to win the whole thing. Gonzaga is loaded offensively. I'd love to see Houston and Gonzaga, premier offense, premier defense, go mano-a-mano. Be a tremendous matchup. And how about Wisconsin? Lost to Maryland. Welcome to the Big Ten. But I'm riding those 4 horses all the way to the barn, Mike. Villanova, right. Jay Wright, get better, by the way. I know COVID has infiltrated your family, and so get better there, buddy. But Gonzaga is so powerful offensively. Houston, I think, is the best defensive team in the country. And Wisconsin has a brand of defense and offense that is hard to guard.
Caleb Mills fouled Keyshawn Williams. He just missed both free throws, as you saw. Houston's got the ball here and trying to add on to the 6-point advantage. You know, how about those teams that went to the Final Four for Houston? We go back to the 83-84 team, the 82-83 team. Remember those? You know, they went to the championship game, Mark, in both of those seasons. Of course, lost to Georgetown in the 84 year, and then with Jimmy V and NC State in the 83 campaign.
Yeah, in the early 80s under Guy V. Lewis went to 3 consecutive Final Fours. The last 2 went to the championship game. Hakeem Olajuwon.
Yeah, and Clyde Drexler and the 5 slam and jamma. And here's a 3 ball from Haywood for Tulsa. He's cut the lead down to 3. Those are some of the great teams all time for Houston, and can they get back there?
It's fun to watch Tulsa mix and match defenses. Full court defense back to zone on this possession. And DeJon Giroux right there out of control. Look, he can make either coach happy, Kelvin Sampson said. Sometimes me, sometimes the opponent's coach. And right here he makes Frank Haith happy. Out of control. Defender moving his feet, although I'm not sure he really got there. But sometimes Giroux can try to hit grand slam home runs versus just hit singles.
How about Giroux, right? Broke a huge barrier. First in his family to graduate college. And you said it, you know, it could be one coach happy, one coach not. But, you know, Coach Sampson said to us, Mark, at his core, he's not a good person. He's a great person. Yeah. Best teammate we have because he cares. Congratulations to him.
Yeah, he's the Pied Piper of this basketball team. Everybody follows Giroux. He's really turned into quite the young man out of the 7th Ward in New Orleans. A great story of success, being the first graduate from college of his family. Congratulations, DeJon. I watched him as a freshman at UMass, and now to see his success, just heartwarming.
Inside, not there on the shot from Tremont Mark. Here come the Golden Hurricane with a 3-point deficit. They have clawed their way back. It was in danger zone early, but now a 3 to tie. It's good, and Curtis Haywood does it again from deep. 15 all here halfway through this first half, and a timeout Houston. We'll be right back. Tied up now here.
Circumstance doesn't affect attitude with the Frank Haith team. They just continue to grind away and figure out ways to win close games. They won a bunch of close games a year ago. And this is a team that won a close game at Memphis as well. They just grind away victories as we take a look at Caleb Mills knock down the baseline runner.
Solid floater there to put Houston back in front. Another 3 ball, and that one's off. Saved from going out, though. Here come the Cougars. Almost a steal. Grimes fouled. Count the basket. Quentin Grimes taking it in strong.
How did he make that shot? He bowed his head while shooting the basketball. Look at that. He shot that ball blind and makes it. Quentin Grimes off the glass. No look. Horse.
That's amazing, yeah. Little Michael Jordan-esque there. Of course, not on purpose, but you're right. Brandon Rochelle was called the foul. That's his second for Tulsa.
Sports Center top 10. I know we always talk about dunks. That's a blind shot right there.
Right.
It goes in.
So you mentioned what Tulsa's done to come back and how they can stay in it. How about Houston responding after that timeout? Now here's a jumper back the other way for the Golden Hurricane.
Yeah, now all of a sudden both teams are finding a little bit of an offensive rhythm.
Ray Idowu for this first basket tonight for Tulsa. Offensive rebound. Grimes does it again.
That's where Houston kills you. So I evaluated Houston during a game last season, and I was looking at hustle stats. In particular, how many times did the three tallest players go to the offensive glass? Like 87% of the time against Tulsa, Kelvin Sampson had 3 red jerseys going to the offensive glass. 87% of the shots. That's a lot.
Well, and Coach Sampson said his guards, they need to be able to rebound, right? Grimes really took that to heart. I mean, he is now number 2 on the team in rebounding, 24 for Houston. And that's pretty special. Averaging 18.4 points a game, leads the team. He's got 7.3 rebounds, second behind Gore.
And the best decision Quentin Grimes ever made was to leave Kansas to go play for Kelvin Sampson.
And a steal. That was Tremont Mark. Goes the other way, and a blocking foul is called. It's going to be 2 shots for him when we come back.
I was curious, Mike, as Sasser and Mills come back to the fold in the UCF game, I thought Grimes was kind of trying to find his way again, how he would fit after being the go-to guy for Kelvin Sampson. How would he play with the other 2 scorers? And tonight, he is picking and finding his spots. He's let the game come to him. And so far, 9 points tonight. Grimes has adjusted well.
Keyshawn Williams is called for the foul before the timeout. Mark missing on the free throws. 22-17 still Houston. Joyner coming off the screen, runs into a roadblock.
And look at that
Idowu's working hard inside. Fouled by Gresham.
Idowu's going to be a big key. The more that Tulsa can figure out a way to incorporate their 5 men, because Frank Hayes' 5 men always get better. There, he gets a touch right there. I like the look. I like the cross-court pass.
Good play, and almost a basket and the foul. Instead, it's going to be Williams heading back to the free throw line, draws the contact.
No, Mike, that started with Ray Idowu. Getting the ball inside to him, I think, is a huge key for Tulsa moving forward. Idowu has wingspan. He can move. He can score over both shoulders. He's got a good motor. Just keep feeding that big guy the ball. He typically makes good decisions.
First foul on Sasser. And Tulsa's got it within 4. Hey, Idowu 6'9", 243. And then you got Ugbo, who's a 7-footer, number 12 for Tulsa. Crazy thing with those 2, though, Mark, I look up some of the numbers. Idowu's got just 1 block in the season. Ugbo doesn't have any. So, I mean, they may alter a lot of shots, but the stats on the block line certainly isn't there in the early part of this year.
Yeah, and it's not there, especially with Idowu, who has a 7'5" wingspan. He should be challenging more shots and changing more shots for sure.
7 minutes to go, first half, 3-point game. It's a traveling violation on Caleb Mills.
He's been watching James Harden get away with that for years in the NBA.
I know. Darian Jackson now. For Joyner for three. And that's going to be a foul over the back on Idowu. There was 4 red jerseys there. Just, yeah.
Mike, that's what makes Houston so hard to play against, because they limit you to 1 shot. And then because they send 3 red jerseys to the offensive glass, they manufacture points on the offensive glass. They're just so dominating, rebounding the basketball. Look at the block off right there. I mean, that's perfect position by Bryson Gresham. That's fundamental basketball. It doesn't take any talent to do that. It just takes concentration and effort.
Yeah, I mean, Tulsa has just 1 offensive rebound in this game. And then the other thing is that Houston's in the bonus. You know, they're in the double bonus now. So still 6.5 to go. Every foul, they're going to head to the line for 2 shots. Missed 3 on the way by Haywood. Offensive rebound. That's the 2nd now of the game for Tulsa.
Yeah, it was in a red jersey hand. It just popped out.
There's a pass down to Jackson. Shot clock is at 5. Offensive foul. Joyner.
Marcus Sasser is just a pest. And I mean that in the most positive way. Watch when the ball goes up. Watch the red jerseys pursue the offensive glass. Watch Gresham in particular, number 55 in red. There he goes.
Mark trying to follow his own shot. Yeah, you called it. Grimes got it.
That's why. Watch it again. Ball goes up. 2 or 3 red jerseys are going to pursue it.
That is going to be an offensive foul. Good call there. Caleb Mills. And that's going to be his 2nd.
Remember, Caleb Mills coming off the ankle injury, just played against UCF. He's forcing it right now. We saw him before with the step back, got called for the walk. A little bit of frustration, now over penetrates into 2 defenders. And that's a double charge. Both guys were set.
Joyner taking the charge.
Focus.
Yeah, you said it earlier, and you're absolutely right. Mills, who played against UCF just a few days ago, but like you said, that was his first action since November 29. So trying to get back into it. I mean, it's got to be difficult, right, Mark, this year with all the interruptions and, you know, the COVID issues, the players in and out. And, you know, how do you get back into a rhythm, you know?
You know, the closest thing I had to it, Mike, was one year I got down to 7 healthy players, and it was just a nightmare. I mean, just trying to get where you could go 5-on-5 was impossible. I mean, they had a bunch of assistant coaches like me out there. It's very, very difficult.
And that's not good when you're running the scout team, right?
No.
Grimes got held up.
Missed that.
Ball into the hands of Sasser.
Grimes walked.
Houston.
Grimes walked. He came down with that ball. That looked like a walk to me.
Yeah. Instead, Sasser gets a 6th point of the night. It's a 5-point game. Tulsa has never led here tonight. Joyner, good extra pass. It's Haywood. He's been hot from 3, and it continues. Another one for Curtis Haywood. That's his 3rd 3 of the night. He's 3 of 4 now with 9 points.
He played really well against Wichita State at 11.7 rebounds in that loss at home to Tulsa. And then Tulsa followed up with the road win at Memphis. He did not shoot it well against Memphis at all.
Nice play here from Gorham in the feed inside.
And that feed from Quentin Grimes. How well is he playing, Mike?
Awesome so far here this first half. Still got just under 4 minutes to go. Ritchie not there. No foul. Nice spin move to get out of it here for Tremont Mark. Houston's made 5 of the last 7 field goals. But they will throw this one away. And we'll be back. 3:32 to go first half. Cougars hanging on to a 4-point lead. Nobody wants a root canal. None of that. We will. We'll hear from you at the half. Kevin, Sean, and Seth on the E-Trade halftime report coming your way in 3 minutes and 28 seconds of game time. Have you had one of those, Mark?
Yeah, I've had root canal and wisdom teeth pulled, and I can tell you that a root canal is better than wisdom teeth. And I see Houston more on the wisdom teeth level as far as pain and suffering is concerned. And I've coached against that dude, so I know what I'm talking about. And with him.
And now the turnover here, and Houston with it back on the offensive end and a 4-point lead and 3 minutes to go in the first half. Sasser. Now here's Cameron Tyson, who's in for just the third game of the season, number 5. Here's a long 3 from Sasser and an offensive rebound, and yet again, a good job by Tulsa to keep that in play. It's a 5-on-4, and a foul is on Mark. Tremont Mark picks up his first.
Mike, we opened with a battle of superheroes. Kelvin Sampson and Batman, as Batman defends Gotham like a madman. And Frank Haith with Black Panther and with Superman. So far, pretty good defensive struggle.
What superheroes do you bring out for these matchups, huh? Texas and Kansas coming on Saturday at noon Eastern on ESPN2. That's going to be awesome. Then we'll head to the Big Ten. Luke Garza, number 10 Iowa, taking on Ron Harper Jr. and number 14 Rutgers at the rack Saturday at 2 on ESPN2. How about those games?
I like Sean Farnham's relationship with Luca Garza as 4. I think that's dead on. Big, strong dude. I like it.
Rutgers getting the win tonight, 81-76 at home over Purdue.
Well, what a job Steve Pike has done. Holy cow. Won 20 games last year. They're an NCAA tournament team for sure this year so far.
3-ball good again, and Tulsa, this time it's by Darian Jackson. They have hit a few timely threes. That's their 5th of the night.
This is what Tulsa does. I love the way Frank Hayes' team just grinds and grinds and grinds. And Darius Jackson, one of those guys that grinds as well as anybody in the American.
Mark, it's the first lead for Tulsa here tonight at 27-26. And, you know, if anybody's been watching this game from start until right now, you would say there's no way. You feel like it's been all Houston, right? I mean, how is this possible?
Houston's 1 for 10 from 3. Why? Because Tulsa gets in your grill. They change defenses on you. Darian Jackson, to me, Tulsa becomes better when he comes off the bench. He is just one tough dude that brings that toughness onto the floor.
Haywood getting the block, but a foul is called as well as Sasser took it to the rim.
Well, I have grown to admire Frank Haith and how he keeps his team focused throughout a tough physical basketball game. That time Curtis Haywood with the interior defense.
Pardon me, no foul. The ball is just out of bounds, and it remains Houston ball. But a great job there by Haywood. And now another offensive board. Gorham's got it. And did he call timeout? Yes, he did. So that'll keep the possession in favor of. You get the rebound. You got to put the points back up. Just 5 so far in this first half.
Watch for Sasser. Watch for Grimes.
Tremont
Sasser,
Mark gets it in
with the ball.
Shot clock is down to 5. Grimes stripped and fouled.
Houston is really soft against the zone. We're going to see at halftime, their Grimes probably puts the ball on the floor and attacks the rim. But Houston was 1 in, 4 out, and everything was on the perimeter. Houston's got to do a better job of moving the ball and attacking the seams of the zone. And then 2-foot jump stop as that zone collapses. You got to expand and contract the zone to be successful. Look for Houston to make that adjustment at halftime.
Second foul on Joyner. We are now tied with 1:03 to go. Grimes looking for his 11th point, and he has it. Three-pointer's been the real equalizer for Tulsa, as you talked about, Mark. They're 5 of 12. Houston, as you said, 1 of 10. Haywood has 3 of the 5 three-pointers for Tulsa. 0 in the white and blue jerseys. Now on a drive and in for 2. Count it for Darian Jackson.
Really smart offense by Tulsa. Darian Jackson playing well, and they fed the dog. And he was more than willing to eat.
That's a smart play to be able to try to get a 2-for-1 here, because there's a 7-second differential shot clock and game clock in this first half. As Gorham has to kick it back out. Now a 3-ball by Tyson, no good. Another offensive rebound, a block inside. And that was by Ritchie. But getting it back, Houston a basket and a foul to take the lead back with 8.6 seconds to go, as Justin Gorham crashes in there hard and is headed to the free throw line.
This is a DNA deuce. This is the Houston DNA. Get an extra possession. Turn it into a scrum. A rugby match, if you will. That's a DNA basket right there for Houston. That's in their DNA.
Second foul on Ritchie, and he can't connect on the three-point play. But now here's Tulsa down by 1. 5 seconds left. Joyner on the take, and it counts. And it's a 31-30 lead at the half for Tulsa. How about that? And it's time now for who's going to be a fight defensively. Players going after it. What stood out to you?
When you look at Tulsa going 5 for 12 from the three-point line. Now, why is that important? Houston is the number 4 team in the country in three-point field goal percentage defense. They typically only give up 21%, Mike. Tonight, Tulsa, 41 from deep.
It's a great point. Tulsa off the mark on the jumper there by Ray Adowu. And Giroux runs quickly into the front court for the Cougars.
And the flip
fourth in the
side,
nation.
and the flip side, Mike, is that Houston 1 for 11 from 3 in the first half. Credit that stingy Tulsa defense.
It's a good point. They missed their last 8, too. They're 0 for their last 8. Travel there on Sasser. 7 turnovers now for the Cougars and 6 for Tulsa in this game. Joyner out of a double team, kicks it for Keyshawn Embry-Simpson. And Giroux clears out the rebound.
Boy, their guards want a rebound.
Everyone does, right? I mean, if you don't, you're not on the floor.
That's exactly right. Pretty simple, isn't it, Mike?
Out of bounds there that time was Austin Ritchie for Tulsa. Houston possession. Yeah, how about that little lineup that you'll see sometimes with a 4-guard lineup, you know, if you will. Yeah, for both teams. And Tulsa goes small at times too. And here's a jumper that's off. Rebound, Golden Hurricane. Three-ball Ritchie, no.
Bad shot.
And it's going to be a foul. Houston, as Embry-Simpson hit the deck hard.
Brandon Rochelle was wide open. Extra pass. He has a chance to knock down that 3-ball. Once again, you see a whole bunch of folks going after the loose ball in a red jersey. Foul right there. Or clothesline action.
Second foul on Sasser for Houston. First foul this second half. How about the help and recover too, Mark? The way that they can clamp down on a double team and then get right back over to their man as there'll be another Houston foul. They're upset with that call.
You know, Mike, it's a great observation. That's where Houston is different, especially in this COVID environment. The one thing I've noticed is that backside rotations when there's spacing and ball movement is really not very good. But Houston, because it's part of their program every single day, they work on how to bluff and recover to the ball, how to recover then to their man, how to close out and challenge a shot quickly. They're just in constant motion.
Gresham was called for the foul, his second for Houston.
I like what Frank Haith has done, mixing and matching defenses. Houston has never been able to get into an offensive rhythm. They got a little full court pressure, back to a zone. They played some man. Now they're in their zone.
Ritchie's 2 free throws has made it 33-30, but now it is tied, and a three-pointer goes down, and we get a foul underneath, though, as Sasser hits the 3. There's a foul on Houston. It's on Gresham, so he picks up another one back-to-back. That's his 3rd on a clear out.
Boy, I must have missed something there.
Yeah.
I sure didn't see anything that warranted a foul. Maybe we came on a little bit late.
Might have missed it from that shot. And now Sasser gets a steal, finds a cutter, and it's Grimes, and he gets the basket, and it's going to head to the line.
So Marcus Sasser bangs the 3 on the opposite end, then jumps the route, gets a defensive steal the next possession, and then gives it to Grimes for the layup. I mean, Grimes can flex, but Marcus Sasser made both of the last plays for Houston to put him in the position to score and to score again.
Foul was on Idowu. That was his 3rd for Tulsa.
Darian Jackson now in the game.
Point. Pardon me, Mark. Go ahead.
Darian Jackson now in the game, Mike, and I like that move by Frank Haith. The earlier, the better that you can get Jackson in the game, because he's an energy giver to this Tulsa basketball team.
Yeah, they needed his spark for sure. He wants that 6th man off the bench, and now he takes it baseline. Joyner. Oh, that's nice.
Joyner took advantage of the defender running through the closeout. Really not a good stance, not a good position, and Joyner made him pay.
Giroux trying to take it to the hole, knocked away, and it's in the corner. Picked up by Grimes, now Sasser. Sasser through some traffic, draws a blocking foul on Tulsa. And he's going to head to the line after we tell you about tomorrow's Duke's Mayo Bowl. Sam Hartman leading the fast-paced and high-powered Wake Forest offense against 3-3 Wisconsin, led by freshman quarterback Graham Mertz. That's coming up tomorrow, noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central on ESPN, the ESPN app, the Duke's Mayo Bowl. Sasser's play has been outstanding, just a sophomore. Season champions in the American Athletic Conference. And Mark, you and I were there. I mean, we were in Fort Worth, Texas. You know, we'll never forget. Of course, you know, you had, I remember a really nice speech to all of us at dinner the night before, because we were expecting to be playing this tournament with no fans, the American Athletic Conference tournament. And we said, hey, whatever, well, let's go do it. And, you know, we got out there, and that's when it all went down. So it was unfortunate to not see what could have happened, not only here, but, of course, in the NCAA tournament as well.
You look at what these teams go through just to play a game. In Houston, obviously, they've had their ride with COVID. Almost all their players have been exposed, had it at one time or another, including coaches. In fact, Kelvin Sampson and Kellen Sampson were quarantined during the South Carolina game when Quantas White came through as the head coach and won that game. There's Darian Jackson going hard to the rim.
Jawan Robertson there as well, 13 for Houston, the redshirt freshman. And boy, that interior defense. Here's a three-pointer, Keyshawn Embry-Simpson. No, the offensive rebound is there. Brandon Rochelle puts it in.
That's the first second chance points for Tulsa in this game. Brandon Rochelle finding a way to get it done on the offensive glass. Well done.
That doesn't happen often against this Houston team with a play like that. Here's a three off the mark from Grimes. Offensive board, and that's put back up and in by Justin Gorham that time.
Yeah, Houston says, okay, we just gave up 2. Now we're going to take 2 back. That's how they play.
Back to a 3-point Cougar advantage. Keyshawn Embry-Simpson. Off the screen from Michelle. Oh, nice up and under. Wow.
Man, that is a tough shot.
Cuts it to a 1-point game. 4.5 minutes gone by. Second half. 3 ball. That's way off. And it's Tulsa ball when we come back. Coming up, an important piece of American history. Revisited and brought.
Silence was deafening for me as I reflected on the history of our country and the history that I never knew. I was never familiar with Reconciliation Park. I was never familiar with the Tulsa Massacre. Frank Haith wasn't either, by the way. And it took him several years before he went to that park to reflect on what happened. Mike, what I've learned over the last several months and the opportunity to go to Reconciliation Park is that Frank Haith's history is different than Mark Adams' history. It's different than Kelvin Sampson's history and Mike Corey's history. And while we see the lens of America through what we've been taught in the history classes, the fact of the matter is this story of the massacre in Tulsa was never told to me, was never shared in a class. I never got the opportunity to reflect and learn until I walked into that beautiful memorial from 99 years ago and got a chance to understand what it was like to be black in America in Tulsa in 1921. And some things have changed for the better, but until we reconcile, understand, and attack our own history, we're going to keep making the same mistakes. I was moved by Reconciliation Park.
Well said. 100th anniversary of that is in next year, May 31st and June 1st. 100 years ago, back in 1921. Be a flop warning here now on Tulsa. And Frank Haith says, come on. You know, what's that all about? Let's take a look here.
That's a charge. That's not a flop. That's a charge.
Well, it's called a flop warning on Keyshawn Williams for Tulsa. And now instead they're going to get a steal. Good job there by Darian Jackson.
Bad decision. Darian Jackson should take that thing to the rim. He's a good enough athlete to go up against Giroux and dunk that thing.
Well, they got the points out of it anyhow. Rochelle
pretty nifty.
It, Mark. Yeah, they'll take it. They're back on top by a point.
Pretty nifty play by Brandon Rochelle, one of the great two-way players in the American.
4 ties, 7 lead changes. As you see, the largest lead was 11 by Houston earlier to start this game, and it was ugly early for Tulsa. They were down 15-4, but then came back to tie it at 15. Houston went on a drought of almost 4 minutes without a basket, and now here we are in a 1-point game with just under 14 minutes remaining. Floating shot out there by Mills. Nope.
Caleb Mills is really forcing his game. That's what I see from him tonight. He's frustrated. He's forcing shots.
And a foul is going to be called. And it's on Jawan Roberts of Houston. That is going to be his second for the redshirt freshman. I agree with you, Mark. Back to Mills there. He has just 2 points, in this game. 1 for 3 from the field.
Brandon Rochelle has certainly become more aggressive, and the foul was before the block shot there as he got him on the right hand. But Caleb Mills right now looks like a guy that's been shelved with an ankle injury. And playing against Tulsa, which we talked about, is frustration versus focus. And if you can't stay focused, the frustration will take away your game. Now, the good news is he plays for Kelvin Sampson. They got a pretty good idea the next time out they're going to have a little discussion about it.
3-point lead now for Tulsa at 43-40. As Dejan Giroux gives it up now for Sasser. And that's going to be a holding foul on Darian Jackson. His first for the Golden Hurricane. Just a second, making a 14 foul here in the second half.
I'd like to see Houston do more of that. More passing, more interior passing to play inside out. Sometimes their perimeter over dribbles the basketball.
Or you saying in the game that you did earlier, you were counting the amount of dribbles? That's one of the teams is doing.
Yeah.
Basket and a foul counted here for Dejan Giroux. He's got a chance to tie it up.
One thing about Dejan Giroux, he's not afraid to take and make big shots. And when you get him going north and south, he can finish. And he is fearless. Now, he's a guy that throughout his career, he's tried to be Barry Bonds and break the home run record. But oftentimes, Kelvin Sampson just wants him to hit singles.
Well, keeping with the baseball theme, he told him, you got to be like the catcher in a no-hitter, right? I thought that was an interesting analogy. We always talk about the pitcher and what he does. I mean, the catcher's calling the game, I mean, he's calling the shots there. You got to make the assist. Don't turn it over. There's a technical foul that has been assessed to Curtis Haywood after he was called for the foul. So Sasser is going to shoot 2 free throws. Haywood now with 3 fouls. Picked up his second and then the technical. So he's got 3. One more free throw here for Sasser. We now have a tie game. And then Giroux is going to head back to the free throw line to try to cap off his 3-point play. He's trying to get to the line, and Haywood's got some things to say.
Remember that focus versus frustration theme?
Yeah.
Here we go, Mike. We've got 13 minutes to go in this thing. 44-43. 2 teams that tied for the conference championship a year ago, and both teams are strong-willed defensive juggernauts. Somebody's going to get upset.
What a backdoor cut by Keyshawn Embry-Simpson, and Darian Jackson found him to put Tulsa back in front.
Tulsa just keeps running their stuff. You can't force them out of their game. They are bulldoggedly running their offense.
And then Giroux with a feed inside, getting it to Jawan Roberts, and he heads to the free throw line. Nice passing here on these last 2 series.
Keyshawn Embry's system, what a cut right there. Off the glass. I got a chance to talk to him personally on the telephone last night about his grandmother who he lost to COVID. Just a respectful young man, smart young man, hard-playing young man. Appreciates the opportunity to play for a father figure in Frank Haith. I love the fact that his grandmother, when he didn't play well in high school, say, get back in the gym and get better.
Yeah,
I think every parent could take that lesson from his grandmother, Velma Dennis, on how to parent your kid. Stop letting them make excuses and start working harder.
Foul was on Haywood. He has to go to the bench with 4 fouls for Tulsa. And an up and under and a shot rejected inside as that was Keyshawn Embry-Simpson. Here's Dejan Giroux. And Houston trying to regain the lead here on this possession, coming up on 12 minutes remaining.
That's maturity by Giroux. A year ago, he would have tried to score that.
And a steal for Tulsa. That was by Keyshawn Williams. And then a foul is called on Justin Gorham of Houston. Defense by both teams here tonight, right, Mark? I mean, coming in, we knew it. 15th in the nation was Houston. 16th was Tulsa in terms of field goal percentage defense. But I think getting around and getting their hands in the passing lanes and making plays, both squads, nice job tonight.
And Tulsa is one of the most improved teams in the country. And that's just horrible defense by Houston. And more than willing to take advantage of it is Darian Jackson. But I saw Tulsa against TCU. They looked dysfunctional. I saw them against South Carolina. They weren't much better in the second game. But then against Memphis, they started figuring it out, especially in the second half against Penny Hardaway's bunch. Now they're going toe-to-toe with the number 5 team in the country. This team has improved in leaps and bounds since the Hall of Fame Classic in Kansas City.
Thoreau not there on the shot. Here it is on the run for Brandon Rochelle, and he's going to be fouled. Coming up the court, it's going to take us to a timeout.
Tulsa just keeps in 1989 and took care of Kellen, who was probably about 5 or 6 years old, and Lauren, who was maybe a year older. And the thing that I remember most about that Mr. Mom for about 2 weeks, as a matter of fact, was that Lauren would get up in the morning, and for her to pick out her clothes for school would take forever. And I had to get them to school. And so I'd never had a daughter. I still have a daughter. I have 4 sons. And so what I did was, Lauren, in the evenings, I would make her go to her closet, pick out her clothes in advance, and then, Mike, I had to brush her hair in the morning. I've never brushed anybody's hair. I barely have hair. So I had to go brush her hair in the morning. I mean, don't tell what a rat's nest I sent her to school looking like. And, Lauren, I want to apologize to you now on national TV. But Kelvin's been a longtime friend since we met when he was the head coach at Montana Tech. I coached against him, coached with him at Washington State. And, of course, Lauren now is in charge of all the external affairs, does all the marketing. And Kellen, the assistant coach. Karen's the CEO. And they're Alabama's going to win the thing.
Yeah,
right? Alabama's going to win. And Notre Dame made the playoffs. I have no clue how. And I'm Catholic, by the way, in the interest of full disclosure. All right? Cincinnati runs the table. Okay? Luke Fickell is a better coach than Brian Kelly. I'm a Cincinnati grad. I watched both of them. Cincinnati is a whole different level program than they've ever been, even under Brian Kelly. And Cincinnati doesn't even get a sniff for this thing. It's a bunch of BS, if you ask me.
I'm sorry I got you started there.
Yeah, I'm passionate about it.
I hear that. I'm sure a lot of fans in the area agree with you as well.
You notice I hesitated before I went there. You know, I had to think it through a little bit, so I didn't say anything really bad.
I got you.
But that's the way I feel.
Well, what do you feel about what's going on right here? Tulsa is on top by 6 points against the 5th-ranked team in the nation right here with 10:35 to go. So, Mike, we have the greatest job in the world, right? We get to sit here and talk about Houston and Tulsa, and friends text us during the game or on Twitter and that type of thing. Mick Cronin texted me about 2 minutes ago and said, I don't miss playing Tulsa.
That's right.
Former Cincinnati coach, won a gazillion games at Cincinnati, won a bunch of American Athletic Conference championships, now the head coach at UCLA. His one statement was, I don't miss playing Tulsa.
You see, every coach in the league knows how tough this team is and what it was like to go up against them. You know, we said earlier about the respect that they don't seem to get for whatever reason. The coaches respect them. Here's a three ball that goes in by Caleb Mills, and he's finally getting the stroke going here tonight.
Now, that might get him going, and that might get Houston going. As Houston now goes zone this possession against Tulsa. Timeout, Frank Hay.
First three-pointer this season made by Mills. Of course, remember, he's had the injury in our conversation tonight. I think, you know, for them, I mean, they know how tough Houston is. They beat them last year.
Yep.
And, you know, now at a number 5 ranking, I mean, who knows? There's a lot of basketball to be played this season. And, you know, sometimes you see teams early and then it's way different later. But here is a steal picked off by Mills. Takes it to the rack. And it's going to be Tulsa the other way. He's unable to convert. Now another steal. And Mills is going to be fouled by Joyner. Third foul on Joyner. Mills to the free throw line. A chance to cut it to 1.
As we take a look at Caleb Mills going up, and Mike, you bring up a great point about Tulsa now. They knocked off number 20 Memphis last season, 80-40. Let me say that again. Number 20 Memphis came to Tulsa, and Tulsa won 80-40. They also beat number 23 Wichita State last year on that Elijah Joyner shot that knocked off Greg Marshall's bunch in Tulsa as well. So they've knocked off some top 25 teams here in Tulsa. And this is a team right now that's giving themselves every opportunity and taking the number 5 team in the country, giving them everything they want.
And we've been back and forth a ton here tonight. It's a 1-point game. 2-57 all time versus AP top 5 teams, the Golden Hurricane.
Well, Tulsa has a way of winning close games. There's the turnover by Tulsa, but Tulsa last year, they beat Houston by 2. You mentioned it. They knocked off Houston by 2. They beat UConn by 4, Wichita State by 3, Tulane by 5. I mean, this is a coach and a team that understands how to win close games, especially at home.
Coming up on 9 minutes left in the contest. Houston trying to go back in front. Grimes, haven't heard from him in a little bit. 24 for the Cougars. He's got it back.
Watch for Mills. There he is.
Mills fade away from the foul line.
I like the look, though. I can feel Caleb Mills getting some confidence, and you got to give him the basketball. I like that possession. Houston staying in that zone. Good pass.
Good look for 3. Keyshawn Embry-Simpson. Rochelle offensive rebound up and under, and he scores it.
So here's where Houston is a little bit vulnerable on the offensive glass. Why? Because they went zone. Now all of a sudden you see Tulsa and Rochelle getting to the offensive glass for the stick back. Harder to block off in the zone.
3-point game here now, and on the drive, and the ball rolls off of the shot from Grimes, and it's stuck. It's going to be a jump, and it's going to stay with Houston possession on the alternating arrow, and we have a timeout. Tulsa.
Now, Kelvin Sampson said it best, that he just doesn't care. Now, fans do. We do. Because it's a great way to market your program. I remember at Washington State, one thing Kelvin talked about was when you're ranked in the top 25, the greatest part of it is your score is always getting run on the ribbon by ESPN when you're in the top 25. It's easy marketing for your program. So while coaches say they don't care, they care, believe me, because it helps them in recruiting.
Almost a steal here. Keyshawn Embry-Simpson. They get it inside for Ray Aduwu. Works his way against Gresham and gets it to go off the glass.
Tulsa's 5 men get better. That's what Frank Haith is known for. Remember Martin Zigbanu?
Yep.
That guy was unbelievable last year. And he carried this team time and time again. Frank develops his big guys.
Idowu with a jumper to make it a 5-point lead, and now a foul on Haywood, and that is going to be it. That is his 5th personal foul, and he's done for the night. And that's going to be a big loss here down the stretch. 9 points for him, 5 rebounds as well, and he'll have to watch from the sideline for the final 7:06. So Caleb Mills here, Mark, has really started to pick it up a little bit in the second half. I know you said he was kind of forcing his shots and plays early, but now settling in a little bit, and they need him.
So remember, Mike, I said that next time out it would be discussed. I'm sure it was.
Yeah. Caleb
Mills was frustrated. He needed to refocus on what he can do to help the team win. It's just not his offense, it's his defense as well. And let's see now how Houston blocks off out of this zone. Watch the white jerseys when the ball goes up, especially Brandon Rochelle, number 1 in white.
Rochelle kicks it. Jackson. Idowu. Good reversal. It's Austin Ritchie, and he nails a 3.
Austin Ritchie, an X-factor guy off the bench who could bang the 3 ball, and he has been hot of late.
Yes, he has, but right back the other way. A 3 ball is good by Grimes, and then they're going to call another flop warning, or flop
And this is going to be a technical because Tulsa already got a warning. Or is it going to be on Grimes? Let's see.
It's
Hold
on
on a
Grimes.
minute here. It's on Grimes.
I think it's on Grimes,
right.
Mike. Yep.
Right. You can't do it the other way either. You can't fake like you were fouled, and that's what they said. So he gets the three-pointer, but falls down like he was hit, and that's what we say with the flop warning. You cannot do that on purpose to trick the referee into like you got fouled. So see, he's not even touched, and he falls down. So that's just a great call by the officials. It was a point of emphasis a couple years ago, and that's a warning. So the next one for either team right now, because they've each had a warning, will result in a technical foul shot. Doesn't matter who it's on. Missed jumper by Ray Adowu, and here comes Houston now, down by just 3. Grimes. What a night he's had, 17 points. 3 for the tie from Jamal Shed? No. And Adowu, a huge rebound.
Well, Adowu's a big dude. He could make a difference for this Tulsa team if he continues to get better. I like his hands. He catches everything. He can run. You can teach a big guy to do a lot of things if they can run and catch it. There he is.
Little traffic there, and the ball is knocked out of bounds by Houston. How about the rebounding by Tulsa in the second half here, Mark? 15-7. I know you had said that Houston was changing up their defense into the zone a little bit. How much has that affected, their ability on the boards?
Now, Houston is a much better rebounding team when they're in man-to-man. Every team is a better rebounding team when they're in man-to-man.
Shot clock is winding down. Tulsa trades a 3. Rochelle from deep.
That is a player of the year play.
18 points. And he gets the rebound off the Grimes miss. First time this season that Houston has been trailing with under 5 minutes to go in a game. They're 7-0, 5th in the country. Tulsa leads by 6 here. Adowu rejected by Gresham and into the hands of Giroux. And he puts it in on the drive. That is strong to the basket that time by Dejan Giroux.
Graceful. Dejan Giroux out of the Crescent City.
Got it up on 4 minutes left. And this is Houston ball.
But we are seeing some high-level rotation and defense here as Bryson Gresham gets back in the play. Look at this. Man, that is just a beautiful finish. In stride, in rhythm.
Rebound by Ritchie. And we figured this was going to be the type of ball game, right? Grind you out, defense, rebounding. Tulsa's hit 7 big three-pointers in this game.
Austin Ritchie's wide open. That's the guy they want from 3. He misses. Go inside.
Gresham trying to post up. Yep.
Well, I think they got to give Gresham the basketball there. You could read the front of his jersey. You read the front of his jersey, he's open.
Now he sets up a high screen for Sasser. And the tip is not there by Gresham. Will he be called for a foul? And that is the call. We've got a timeout. 3:08.
Great defender of Gotham City, right? So we had to ask Frank Haith the same thing. I mean, 2 guys with strong wills, and Frank Haith decided that Black Panther, because of his leadership of Wakanda, was huge for Frank, and Superman. Now listen, you combine these 2 guys, Black Panther, Superman, and now they're taking on Batman like this. This is what you get. You get a Thanos type of Infinity War. That's kind of the way it works tonight. And we're seeing it tonight in the American. How about that, Mike?
I love it. A lot of battling going on here for sure. That's awesome stuff. Who's going to come out on top of this one? Tulsa possession.
Well, Thanos could not get tickets, so we know that he's not actually in the house here tonight.
Not a participant. Here's a three-pointer on the way by Joyner. Fight for it, and it's Houston ball out of bounds off of Rochelle with 2:43 to go.
So the luxury for Houston, you've got a Quentin Grimes that can score in big situations. You got a Caleb Mills that can score in big situations. As we take a look at the replay right here. And it's going to be Houston ball either way. Giroux, who's a dribble penetrator, not afraid to take and make big shots. Sasser, Grimes, Mills. Then you got Gorham for the offensive stick back. Watch him. There it is. Gorham right there making it happen.
All the way up to Mills. Yes, as Grimes now takes it. And it's fouled.
Mike, Houston has multiple weapons, and they know their roles. Gorham right there was able to get an extra possession because Justin Gorham, that's his motor. That's how he plays.
Don't miss tomorrow the Duke's Mayo Bowl as we have Wake Forest and Wisconsin. It starts at noon Eastern on ESPN. Capital One Bowl Mania continues for the Duke's Mayo Bowl tomorrow at noon. As now we are at a 2-point ball game. 60-58, 2:18 to go here. What do you like to see out of the Tulsa offense, this final 2 minutes right now, Mark?
I love their perimeter. Brandon Rochelle, a go-to guy. Darian Jackson, another guy that's fearless. Elijah Joyner will take and make big shots. Little inside out. I'd like to see him go out with it right now and gives it up instead. Bad decision.
And Joe got to take it away as Sasser gets it up now for Grimes, and he got it stolen. And that's Darian Jackson who gets the steal.
That kid's a winner.
Rochelle, no, the tip is there, and Tulsa's back up 4.
I don't know if that was Idowu or Rochelle that went right back up, but Idowu made one mistake on the turnover, but didn't make 2. Great effort.
Foul on the rebound. It's on Tulsa as Mills missed and Justin Gorham hit the deck.
But Darian Jackson does so many little things to help this team win. The steal against Grimes. He'll go get you an offensive rebound. This time he's blocking off physically. And he backs up into the leaping rebounder, and it's called a foul. Mike, look, by letter of the law, it's a foul. I just hate taking away the aggression from a guy that's doing what he's coached to do, which is physically block off.
Right. And that's what you have to do against this Houston team. Very good offensive rebounding team, and Jackson's just trying to do his job there. And now instead it's going to be Gorham that connects on 2 free throws and makes it a 2-point ball game. Minute 28 to go.
There'll be a timeout here. Frank's going to want to set up a play.
One of their 2 remaining timeouts.
So what do you think he's going to do? He's going to shout. If Brandon Rochelle goes to the men's room, Kelvin Sampson wants to know which stall right now. Deny him the basketball. Don't let him touch it.
It's a season high for Rochelle at 20 points. 19 for Grimes, the top 2 scorers here tonight in this one. Minute 15 to go.
And Houston goes zone. They've got to cheat toward Rochelle, number 1 in white. You got to cheat toward him.
He's at the foul line right now, sending a screen for Joyner. Puts up a 3. It's no good. Rebound by Giroux. And a wide open 3 for the lead by Sasser. No, he gets it back though on the offensive rebound. He ties the game.
That's how Houston wins games. They might miss a shot, but they're going to get a second and third shot.
40 seconds remaining, 20 on the shot clock.
Last Tulsa win versus a top 5 team in 1996.
I would have liked to see Tulsa go more of a 2-for-1 action here, but they did it inside.
And Idolu is fouled. He's heading to the free throw line. Idolu has not been to the stripe tonight. Go ahead, Mark.
I like the fact that Tulsa got it inside, but I don't like the fact that it took them a long time to get there. A quick hitting play would have been, I think, a better option in that situation.
Well, big shot here for a guy that's a 50% free throw shooter. 12 of 24 coming in. And 1 of 2 at the line. Team is just 58% on the season. And a timeout by Houston with 21.7 seconds to go.
I like Quentin Grimes, but I like Sasser as a guy that can get in the paint, 2-foot jump stop, either find Mills, find Quentin Grimes, and let those guys make a play. There's Sasser with the ball.
A top 5 team was 1996 against UCLA. It's a long 3 and it's on the way. It's no good from Grimes. Ball is out of bounds and it stays with Houston. Interesting.
I like Sasser as your decision guy. I like Grimes and Mills as your finishing guy. I like Giroux and Gresham to the offensive glass.
Giroux's going to put it in. 11.8. No timeouts left. They get it in. It is in the hands of Mills. Step back. Jumper. Good. Count it. Caleb Mills hits it with 6.3 seconds to go. 64-63. Tulsa. No timeouts. Rochelle to the hole for the win. He is fouled. 0.1 second remaining. And Brandon Rochelle to the free throw line to try to give Tulsa the win. Wow. Mills with a jumper to put Houston in front. Gresham was the one who was called for the foul. He has fouled out for Houston. And Brandon Rochelle, 65% free throw shooter. Tonight, a perfect 6 for 6 at the line. And these two obviously could win it.
Frank Haith challenged Brandon Rochelle to be that guy. He's more than a scorer. He can play offense and defense, and we've seen it tonight. And now, Tulsa down 1 against the number 5 team in America. Can Brandon Rochelle be that guy?
This one for the win. 0.1 remaining. Brandon Rochelle, 65-64, Tulsa. And they have done it. Knocking off Houston, 5th ranked in the country. Their last win versus a top 5 team back on November 20th,